Hi, I'm Jacinta Jardine, a design researcher at Silvercloud Health, and I'm going to talk about the experience of guided online therapy, a longitudinal qualitative analysis of client feedback in a naturalistic RCT. Mental health is a huge global issue and a rapidly growing one. Online interventions allow us to overcome some of the common barriers to people accessing traditional face-to-face therapy, such as long waiting lists, stigma and high costs, essentially allowing more people to get the help they need when they need it. But in order to design effective interventions and improve existing ones, we need an in-depth understanding of how clients are using these interventions and what their experiences are. And that's what this study is exploring. So I'm going to do a bit of a demo of Silvercloud now and talk a little bit about our research and the wider RCT that this study was part of. And then I'll go into the analysis and results and discussion. So this is the homepage of Silvercloud. It's customizable, so the client can tailor it to create their own personal space. And Silvercloud is designed around these three core elements: the program, tools, and the supporter. So the program is where the kind of main therapeutic content is housed. And the programs used in this study were our depression and anxiety programs. And they're a bit like a kind of educational course. So there's normally about 7 or 8 modules in each program, and they're laid out in a logical order, but they don't have to be completed in order. So the client can skip ahead if there's something they're interested in, or they can go back to content they've already viewed. And it was designed to be a kind of light, calm, and sort of safe space for the user, so not kind of overwhelming them with too much content in one go. The second element is the tools. There's normally 2 or 3 of these in each module, and they are interactive activities that facilitate personal reflection and kind of create a sense of self-efficacy for the user. And the third thing is our supporters. So clients get weekly written reviews from a clinician giving feedback on the work they've completed and encouragement and support to keep going. And this really helps with attrition and keeping people engaged. And Silvercloud was designed around traditional kind of therapy format, so it was thought that the client would do one module spending about 40 minutes a week, as they would with the therapy session. But we'll see from our current study that sometimes how you design something to be used isn't always how it's used in real life. So this platform has a background in HCI research, and it was first presented at CHI in 2012. And this is the paper exploring the original design of the platform. And since then, there have been several randomized control trials, but the current study forms part of what is definitely our largest trial to date. So the main study was a parallel groups randomized control trial examining the effectiveness and cost effectiveness of iCBT for depression and anxiety against a waitlist control group. And this was conducted in one particular service in the UK's National Health Service, the NHS, which was the Berkshire Healthcare Trust. And this service has been using Silvercloud for years, and they've delivered it to thousands of clients. So the treatment pathway that clients went through during this research is just kind of business as usual for this service. And this is what we mean when we say a naturalistic RCT. The clients in our study would have been using the intervention regardless of the research. Which is a really valuable part of the study because we can test how the intervention is being used in a sort of natural implementation setting. And Berkshire is an IAP service, and IAP stands for Improving Access to Psychological Therapies. And this is a stepped care model that the NHS uses where clients arrive at the service and they're triaged. So those with kind of mild or moderate symptoms are offered low intensity treatments like group therapy or online therapy, Silvercloud, and then those with more severe symptoms might go straight to face-to-face therapy. But this is just a bit of context around where the study took place. So what we wanted to explore with this research was what does it feel like to use online interventions, what are people's experiences of it, and how and when are they using it. So experience isn't just a singular thing. It's made up of a lot of different aspects. So our expectations about something have an effect on our experience of it. Our kind of in the moment experience is clearly a kind of big part of our experience. But also our memory of an experience, so our reflective kind of self-narrative is also a key component of our experience. And all these three things kind of contribute to what constitutes a person's experience. So to that effect, we collected our data at baseline, 4 weeks, and at 8 weeks. So that's usually the end point of treatment. We used an open-ended therapeutic experience questionnaire, which we designed ourselves, which had 10 questions in total. And this explored the client's expectations of treatment, their experience during treatment, and their experience on reflection. And this questionnaire was collected via the SilverCloud platform along with the other measures in the trial. So onto the participants, and we decided to only draw from those participants who had completed all 10 questions over the 3 time points, because we wanted to examine this sort of full picture of experience across time. But we do recognise this as a limitation in the study, the fact that we were only examining the experiences of those who completed all the questions. We stopped at 100 records because saturation was reached and no new themes were being created. So onto the results. So we'll look at expectations first. So you can see that clients had very high expectations for their own self-development. So actually only 23 kind of clients expected anything sort of negative or difficult of the treatment. So there's a really strong sense of hope there. So what does this mean? If a lot of these clients had kind of a very strong belief in themselves and in their ability to make changes, and also a strong belief in the treatment itself. And these are kind of key factors that have shown to affect outcomes. So if we look a bit deeper at what is maybe causing this sense of belief and hope, we can see that there are 2 elements at play here. So implementation factors, so this is the service where the study was conducted and the pathways that are in place. The clients in the study were well prepared for treatment, they knew what to expect, and they had good health literacy. So these are all to do with kind of the implementation of this treatment, but also personal factors at play here. So the client's readiness for change, so they're kind of how likely they are to take action and make changes, their motivation, locus of control, things like that all have an effect. And both of these things are kind of outside of the design of the intervention itself. So when we're looking at designing interventions, implementation is really crucial. So this is around service design and the context of how online interventions are accessed. And also there's a really interesting design tension in terms of the personal factors here. So typically with online interventions, only suitable clients are referred. So these are clients who are motivated and maybe kind of more ready to change. But it's worth thinking about kind of, is there something we can do to help clients become more ready to change? So this could involve things like pre-therapy interventions, or maybe incorporating motivational interviewing techniques into perhaps the onboarding or the intervention itself. And then so our second area we looked at was context of use. So we asked clients when and how they were using the intervention. And you can see almost half of them said they were using it at a specific or routine time, but there's lots of other patterns in here as well of people using it. So in their free time, whenever they could, when they were reminded, kind of when they were feeling low. This was interesting around mood dependent usage, also in terms of the situation when they were alone maybe, and then in terms of using it for specific tools in the program. So what we are seeing here, these common usage patterns of clients using the platform in times of low mood, as a coping mechanism, or more erratically in these kind of on-the-go formats. This is not how online interventions are typically designed to be used. So these types of interventions are usually designed to be used in a more kind of intensive way. So for example, with this platform, it was intended for clients to use it for 40 minutes or maybe do 1 module a week, as with a therapy session. And this is maybe one way that it's being used, but there are also lots of other ways it's being used. So one kind of interesting reason for this could be that low mood acts as a sort of reminder for clients to log in. So they may be forgetting about it if they're feeling well. And to make these interventions more useful and relevant for the user, we need to think about design to support these real-life usage patterns, rather than sticking to those traditional therapy delivery formats and structures. And this could involve things like introducing shorter interactions, ecological momentary interventions, and mood regulation strategies, all to kind of address these desired usage patterns. So on to experience. So we can see here that this sort of mirrors the expectations that clients were kind of both expecting and experiencing personal development. And that's sort of interesting in terms of how much of our experience is shaped by our expectations. And the experiences were quite positive overall. But something interesting to note is this kind of difference in opinions. So certain things like the flexibility of the platform were either kind of good for engagement or they hindered engagement, depending on who was saying it. And similarly with support, clients were either feeling connected, supported and reassured, or kind of feeling like the platform needs more support and guidance. And this is like some of these core features of iCBT can be perceived as either positive or negative, or sufficient or insufficient by different people. And this brings us on to our first discussion point, which is polarized preferences. So how can we provide the same treatment to so many unique individuals who have such different experiences of the same thing? And design tensions come up again here in the interplay between these kind of four core aspects of online interventions, which are autonomy, flexibility, motivation, and engagement. So we can see that the responsibility inherent in the autonomy of online treatment is, on the one hand, for some clients, motivational. They're sort of feeling in control of what they're doing. But on the other hand, it can be quite burdensome and stressful. And some clients were feeling like it's just sort of another thing they have to do. It's another thing on their list. And similarly, with the flexibility of online treatment, there's a hugely positive and enabling aspect for a lot of people. Yet it also appears to be a big barrier to engagement for some people. So people are feeling like if there's not a set appointment, they forget about it, or it's kind of easier to put off. And design tensions are a really useful construct here because there is no perfect answer or solution to this. So it's just about balancing these opposing elements, and being aware of that can actually be quite helpful. But there are some tools we can use to address these polarized preferences. So tailoring, personalization and customization are really key to making these treatments relevant to each individual. So then our last area we're going to look at is skills for life. So a lot of clients in this study really understood that they were gaining skills to help them stay well into the future, and that this isn't just sort of treating an illness, it's more of a kind of long-term process. And we saw this previously in the context section as well, that these treatments kind of currently exist within this paradigm of traditional therapies, yet this could kind of be limiting their potential to fully provide for the client's needs. So by going beyond this kind of treatment model, we can maybe look at some alternatives. So things like incorporating alternative theoretical models that maybe support growth and flourishing, such as positive psychology, exploring different approaches maybe, so looking at blended methods which combine face-to-face with online interventions, or incorporating online support groups, or different types of interactions and functionality that maybe make the most of the technology we have. And then also we could maybe reach and benefit previously unsupported groups. So they could be, online interventions could be used as maybe a preventative measure for those at risk. In conclusion then, some of the key takeaway points from this study are that the sort of systems and structures that surround the treatment and each individual client's level of motivation, readiness for change and hopefulness can have as much of an impact on the client's experience as the actual intervention itself. Exploring design tensions can help us to make informed decisions about how we mediate these kind of polarized elements, such as flexibility and engagement. And understanding how clients use and integrate these interventions in their lives can help us to design future technologies that maybe go beyond traditional models of therapy. And we can focus instead on how we can make the best use of technology to effectively address client needs. Thank you for your time. If you have any queries about this presentation or the paper itself, you can send me an email. I'd be delighted to answer any questions you might have.